What is going on, guys? Gaston right here. It's been a long time, but here I am back at you with another video. This one is about the Sony A6700, apparently a camera that is about to be announced in a couple of months. So let's talk about the latest rumors and everything we know coming right up. So first thing, let's talk about the sensor. Sensor is going to be a 26 megapixel sensor. As a matter of fact, it's going to be the same sensor that Sony released with the Sony FX30. We're also going to have the same processor with the AI capabilities. Now let's talk about IBIS, because the Sony A6700 is going to have up to 7 stops of image stabilization. Actually, 2 more fingers, 7 stops. Now, pretty much the same guts from the Sony FX30, and we're going to have the improved mechanical IBIS, we're going to have the digital active image stabilization, and the one that I hope that they add to this camera is the dynamic image stabilization. Now, we have seen that one in the Sony ZV-E1, where the image crops even further in the sensor. The problem is that with the Sony ZV-E1, when that happens, the image quality degrades. But this camera having a 26 megapixel sensor, it will be really nice to have that feature, because hopefully, you know, when you enter that mode, you can still maintain 4K without any image loss. Also, it's really good because it gives you almost like gimbal-like performance, even though you crop way too much into the image. You know, I think it's better having that not to have it. Now, let's talk about video codecs, because this camera is going to do 4K up to 120p, 10-bit color, 4:2, like they have been doing in all the other cameras. Probably there's going to be a caveat with the 120, and one of the things is that it's going to be cropped to 1.3x, I believe it is, but probably it's also going to be limited to a short amount of time. We don't know if you're going to be able to record audio. We're going to have to wait and see. Now let's talk about the body, because this one is going to be slightly bigger, and this is going to be for good reasons. First of all, you know, they're going to be packing a bunch of new technology. Heat dissipation is going to be an issue, and this is also going to allow Sony to give us a much more comfortable grip. Now the body is going to be 3 millimeters deeper, 4 millimeters taller, and like I mentioned before, Sony is going to redesign the grip as well to be a little bit deeper and much more comfortable. Now, if you remember the A6600, you know, the pinky finger was always hanging around almost with any A6000 camera, including the Sony A7C. So this added height, you know, may actually add more comfort and stability to your hand. Now, the other thing that they're going to do is they're going to add a front dial, something that we've been wanting for a long time. And if they do that, most likely they're also going to make the exposure compensation a configurable dial. So now we're going to be able to handle the triangle exposure with 3 individual dials. Now, we got to talk about the EVF, because this has been controversial since the first camera. You know, most people don't like that tiny EVF. In my opinion, you know, it's better have it there. You know, it adds to the compact form factor, but the quality of that EVF is really bad. The refresh rate is really bad. Now, it is said that the EVF is going to be located on the left like it is right now, but the resolution is not going to change. We're going to have most likely the same crappy resolution, which I think that this is wrong. You know, I think this is a wrong rumor, and they are going to upgrade it because it'll be nice to have something a little bit more modern with better color and so on. Even though if it's small, right? Now, where Sony is going to be making massive improvements is on the screen. They're going to slap the same screen that you have in the Sony FX30 with touch screen functionality, swipe functionality, but now the screen is going to flip out. Now, remember, on the Sony A6600, the screen flips up. Now this one's gonna flip up, and of course we're gonna have the brand new menus. Now when it comes to battery, Sony is gonna have the same battery as the Sony A6600, which is the NP-FZ100 battery, same battery as all the full frame cameras. Now this one is a personal request, and I hope that Sony upgrades the HDMI port. I broke mine in one of my A6600. It took me a long time to repair, and it cost me a lot of money. Now Sony with a bigger body, they could potentially put a full-size HDMI. However, I think they're going to leave that for the cinema line, and they're going to give us something in between, perhaps a mini HDMI. But if they can put a large HDMI full size, that will be ideal. Now let's talk about the price, because this camera could actually go 2 ways. One, they could maintain similar price of $1,800, kind of like the Sony FX30. But at the same time, there's a big chance that this camera is going to be more than $2,000 or at least $2,000. The reason why is because the Sony FX30 is a camera that features almost the same advancements of this brand new camera, but it doesn't have an EVF and it doesn't have a mechanical shutter. It does have a fan, which this camera is not going to have a fan. This camera is going to have passive cooling system. But for that reason, because the FX30 is actually a cheaper camera in the cinema line, and the Sony A6700 is going to be the flagship camera of all APS-C cameras, I'm assuming the Sony is going to want to add a premium to the price. So probably 2,000, 2,100, you know, what do you think? Drop your comments down below. So when is this camera going to be announced? And it seems that this camera is going to be announced around July, and Sony is going to be delivering the units a month to a month and a half after. So guys, what are the features you would want to see in the Sony A6700? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what do you think about pricing. And as always, subscribe to the channel if you like. And until then, I will see you in the next video.